Welcome back to World of Warships once again in the Friedrich der Große Tier 9 German battleship. And today's battle is about the single question, which guns to use. Now with the Friedrich der Große you have the first time in the German battleship line the choice between two gun systems, and it's basically the same amount of 16-inch guns, which are the stock guns, or 8 420mm guns, so the 16.5-inch guns. Now I think there is a big difference between the firepower in terms of results and how you deal with armor between the Friedrich der Große with the stock guns and the Bismarck at the tier 8 German battleship that doesn't have this choice. And the Germans always had kind of this trade-off or this flavor for the battleships, that you have rather high rate of fire, quicker reload, but you don't have the same amount of guns nor the caliber in general. Now there are exceptions like the Bayern at tier 6, but a very prominent example is the Gneisenau tier 7 German battleship, which I skipped because just 6 15-inch guns, no way. I know how you sometimes struggle with the Bayern at tier 6 with 8, and also how I struggled with the Bismarck at tier 8 with 8 15-inch guns. So the 16-inch guns are feelable an upgrade. Why? Because it's not just the pure damage output per salvo, it's that you actually penetrate the enemy. The range is not the greatest, the amount of guns is not the greatest, the caliber, well, is a big difference, I think, between 15 and 16-inch guns, because you can overmatch certain lower tier battleships from bow or through the bow or through the stern, and same goes for certain armor plates on cruisers. And this is then significant because that sometimes gives you then a citadel or just an over penetration or a bounce or ricochet or whatever. Now here I think the difference between the 16 and the 16.5-inch guns is again not very big. You have the same turret rotation speed, you have the same range, you have the same penetration, you have the same shell travel time. Everything is the same except for the reload versus alpha damage. Of course, the 16-inch guns have around about 25-second reloads, whereas the 16.5-inch have 27-second reload. That's not a huge difference. However, you also have not significantly more damage, but it's those 2 or 3 seconds difference in reloads that I feel are sometimes really what makes the difference, because it's the meta. It's the meta at tier 9 and tier 10, where it's much more passive than at lower tiers, which is something that I don't like. And you have to fight more often at longer ranges, and in this case you don't have enough guns for the inaccuracy of the German guns, which again the Friedrich der Große carries with it. Now in certain situations the 16-inch guns feel a bit less accurate. They have what feels like a bit more horizontal dispersion, but better vertical dispersion than a 16.5 gun. 16.5-inch guns, sorry about this. And when you shoot at a broadside target like a battleship, you hit more on the horizontal than on the vertical. So the 16-inch guns seem to fit this a bit better. Now, in this battle I have not the greatest of luck with my penetration so far. It will change later on. Again, this battle is not the most damage dealing battle that I had in the Friedrich, and it's also not the most kill featuring battle, but it's a nice battle. It's a battle that shows good decision making, transitioning from one hemisphere of the battlefield to the other to support your team, right? Need support, and also target prioritization. Now here I made the right call with shooting at the destroyer, but this little bugger actually slowed down in time to avoid my salvo, and a single over penetration would have dealt it. It's insignificant because now he got killed and I can focus on the cruisers, and cruisers really hate close range battleships. Also I have hydroacoustic search, and this is nice because I have a lot of cruisers here that will fire torpedoes at me, especially the Japanese ones, or this German tier 10 cruiser, the Hindenburg, when he tries to rush me, which is really nasty because he has 8 torpedoes per side, and the torpedo protection bulge on the Friedrich der Große is just laughable. So, which is strange if you try to balance it around being a brawling battleship with the secondaries and so forth. So whereas with the Bismarck you had still a lot of good maneuverability to dodge incoming torpedoes, with the Friedrich der Große, if something comes in, especially in times of deep water torpedoes, which are just stupid, like if wargaming wouldn't like battleships anymore, but then they bring in the Royal Navy battleships, which are extremely stupid again as well, because of the ridiculous HE Alpha Strike and the fire chance, which is just astronomically high, then yeah, I think I'm not driving the flavor of the month anymore. I've taken too long with my grind, it seems like. By the way, I'm more than halfway through the grind to the Großer Kurfürst. So this will be my first tier 10 ship in general in World of Warships. So I'm kind of looking forward to it, as well as to then mounting 420 millimeters on this ship, because then it's all about the Alpha Strike. Now with the Friedrich, it feels like really a bad transition ship between the Bismarck, which is this cruiser hunting nightmare that also can go in because of the acceleration and speed and armor and hydroacoustic surge, and still enough maneuverability to dodge most torps and just leading a charge, whereas also the meta is much more how I should say, less passive, that's the right word. So I was firing at this guy here, I thought I could surprise him, but here comes an American battleship broadside on. And remember, I have the smaller guns. I have the 406 millimeters aimed beneath the turrets, where I expect him to go because he's relatively slow, and I get a really nice double citadel, which allowed a Bismarck, I guess, to finish him off, and that's a big threat dealt with. So an equal tier American battleship is now not supporting their cruisers anymore, and they're just bailing, they're just running, and rightfully so, because we now make the call. And now I support again my destroyer by firing at the other destroyer and marking him with my secondaries. A real scalding hail of HE shells from my secondaries and armor piercing from my main batteries go in and just making him relatively uncomfortable. And you can see they hit hard on destroyers, so burning him down, breaking modules, and just this guy gets shell shocked literally. And yeah, fire another salvo and I kill him. Good result right there. So that is really, really nice. Yeah, I had some good battles, some amazing battles with the 420 millimeter guns, but I had also much more battles where I just couldn't hit anything, where I thought to myself, oh, I missed this chance to fire at this guy that would have been really great in terms of result, because he just turned and showed his broadside, and you know, that's a paddling. But I just couldn't reload quite quick enough. I mean, the reload difference is just 2 or 3 seconds. It doesn't sound like much, but in fact it is. And you can see that I'm actually going in a little bit, but I'm not stupidly rushing against torpedo cruisers. And here I penetrated him through the bow, which is really nice, and got a citadel. And I'm not quite sure if I could have done this with 15-inch guns. I get it on a much more regular basis with 16-inch guns. Again, double fire, I quickly extinguish it, and yeah, use my repair consumable as well. And then there is this German tier 10 cruiser, and he wanted to rush me, but I turned away and I damaged him on the way in. He has now launched torpedo, at least one torpedo salvo, and because my Hydra is active, I spotted it literally a few miles away. there is a Royal Navy light cruiser in the smoke, and yeah, he's hammering me with HE. I also saw those torpedoes on the other side of the island coming around, and I'm turning around to re-engage this Japanese cruiser. So yeah, I still could dodge anything, but with Bismarck I would have gotten straight in and probably died. Yeah, so the secondaries are there, but they are no longer one of the main tools. They're a nice addition, but that's about it. So you have to focus on the guns, and every little advantage that you can get out of them needs to be important, or is important. And yeah, I don't think that you get more citadels, for example, on cruisers. In fact, I think a little bit less, in fact. Normally I average 1 or 2 citadels per game, despite cracking 120,000 damage. So it's more about the penetration damage, really. Yeah, I know there are a lot of battleships these days that got additional turtleback, that got lowered citadels, are having thicker armor. In fact, there is much less potential for damaging the enemies. And now, do you remember this Royal Navy light cruiser that's sitting in the smoke? At some point, the smoke runs out. And then he has problems. And I just wait, and I want to blind fire into the smoke. And now the smoke clears, and he's standing still. And I am leading good. And punish him accordingly. So, Confederate award, yeah, that's really nice. And my secondaries are also in range. I am aware that he could have launched torpedoes. He didn't expect his smoke to run out in time. Next salvo goes out, let's see how it goes. Oh, good looking dispersion citadel, and that's it. Good result right there. And that's the end of the game, and we won. So nearly 300,000 credits, over 6,000 experience with a standard account, but with the combination of a flag and an experience camouflage. I got the Dreadnought award for, you know, tanking a lot of damage and surviving it. Devastating strike against the cruiser, and also the Confederate award for 150,000 damage, being first in team with quite a big amount of base experience. Over 2,500 in fact, and here we can see how much damage I dealt. Of my 150,000 damage, the overwhelming majority was dealt with the main guns and AP rounds. I actually made a little bit of a profit, which is not something that you should expect to make with a standard account. And yeah, that was a really nice battle. Now in the following scenes, I show you 2 clips with the 420s and the best single salvos that I had. So here I'm firing at a British tier 7 battleship, the Nelson, and let's see how it goes. Leading, shooting. The shells look good, dispersion looks good. And this is with the 420 millimeters. Triple citadel for over 40,000 damage. And another scene, and this time it's a German cruiser, and he really badly positioned himself, and this time I do no over penetrations, I do just hit him with a triple citadel, again for over 40,000 damage. But I think they're rather rare. So that's it for me today. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, let me know in the comment section what you think, and as usual we will see each other on the waves of World of Warships.